fun here during the commercials. After suffering a devastating loss, Brynn Wilder escapes to a tourist town in Lake Superior where she meets a frail woman named Alice. But Alice knows things about Brynn that she shouldn't know. That's basically the plot of the brand new book, The Haunting of Brynn Wilder. It's written by our next guest, local best-selling author, Wendy Webb. Good morning, Wendy.
Hi, Jason. Thank you so much for having me on. It's so nice to be with you today.
Well, it's nice to see you again. And I always ask you this when you come on to talk about your latest book. Where did the particular, whether it's a song or a book or a movie script, I always like to know the origin, the little bean that grows. Where did you come up? Where did
the
you?
Little bean.
Yes.
Well, this happened because a couple of years back, I got asked to go speak at the high school in Bayfield, Wisconsin. And that's the little town, like fooling no one, that's the little town that I base Wharton on. So I was speaking at the high school, and it was really fun because it kind of turned into a ghost story event. One of the teachers put their hand up and said, well, this building is haunted. And I said, oh, really? She said, yeah. Oh, the superintendent died at his desk. He's still here. And it was so funny. And so it devolved into a ghost story. Then I went to lunch at Grunke's in Bayfield afterwards. The server knew who I was. And she said, oh, well, this building is haunted too. And I thought, a really good place to start a story. So that's kind of how it started.
Wendy, with a movie, you can use music and you can use the visual. You can use, dark rooms and jump scares. I was wondering this, as an author of this genre, is it difficult to create that atmosphere and create it with words? I mean, that is your job, but I think you know what I'm asking. Like, how do you create dread? How do you create that?
Well, Jason, that's a really good question. And what I do is I look at each scene that I'm writing as though it is a movie. And I want it to be very visual. And I think that really helps. I describe the settings pretty well. And I think it's just that visual perspective that I have when I'm actually writing the words that helps create that dread.
All of your books
runs through all of my books.
Well, and speaking of all your books take place around the Great Lakes. What is it about the Great Lakes? Because, they always say you write what you know, or you should write what you know. What is it about the Great Lakes that's a constant stream of inspiration and ideas for you?
Lake Superior, man. It's just, if you've ever spent any time on Lake Superior, and I know you have, it is just this mystical, magical, powerful being. And it really inspires my creativity. And that's the place I go to if I'm feeling down or need to get picked up. It also does that. So it's kind of a double-edged thing there.
I always talk about, as I go through, I joke with people that when they ask about schedule and, hey, what's a typical day like? I go, well, really, the fact of the matter is the show is never done. And even though we wrap up with, I think you know where I'm going with this, I can get done with this show, but as I'm going through my day, if things happen to me, I go, oh, I can talk about that on the TV show, and I can talk about this on the radio show. Are you like that with characters, Wendy? When you meet interesting people, and then if you do you jot it down? Like, what's your process for that?
I do, and that's the thing about doing what we do, Jason, is that we're always at the office.
Yeah.
Because the office is right here, And so, I do. And if I get ideas, I jot them down. But usually, most of my inspiration comes when I open up my computer and I just sit down. Like, I don't have an outline. I don't know where the story's going. And that's what the fun of it for me. And I think that makes it fun for the readers, too. I once outlined and I had a big idea, for a big reveal. And everybody saw it coming a mile away. So if I don't know, then my readers won't know either. And that makes it fun.
Everyone's had a different kind of take and experience with dealing with quarantine. I'm an only child, so I like alone time. As an author, Wendy, how have you made the most of the last 6, 8, 9 months?
Oh, well, frankly, my life has hardly changed at all because I'm home all the time. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I wore shoes, Jason. I'm home all the time. But it is a little unsettling to know that if I want to go out, I really can.
Yeah.
And so there is that dread that's running through all of our lives right now. And I'm kind of picking up on that. And the book I'm writing now, I'm just finishing it actually today, my next book. And there's a lot of that dread running through there. And I think it came from everything that we're all feeling right now.
I was actually going to ask you if it has spurned any ideas. Real quick before we go, I always like, because we're in people's homes with Zooms, is that a vintage typewriter behind you, Wendy?
You noticed it. Yes, it is. I got it for my birthday a few years ago, and there's a little ghostly story around it. So that typewriter's haunted, man.
Is it? Seriously?
Yeah. When I first got it, I had it in my dining room, and I was supposed to be writing, but I was watching TV, and I was being really lazy. And all of a sudden, I couldn't find the remote. I'm like, weird. And I go into the living room or the dining room, and the remote is sitting next to the typewriter. And I thought, well, that's weird. Maybe I wandered in here. So I brought the remote back into the living room, started watching a movie. Again, it happened 3 times. So it's like the typewriter was going, right, don't sit here, don't watch a movie.
Oh.
And so I just started with my work again.
Oh, I love you, but I would burn that thing in the backyard if that was doing it with me. I would burn that in a ceremony. There's no way. Well, Wendy, will you're wrapping up this next book. Will you please come back on the show to talk about the next one?
I would love to. I love you, Jason. And I hope we can be in the studio next time.
I hope so, too. Wendy, thank you so much. The Haunting of Brynn Wilder is available for pre-sale right now. It hits bookstores on November 1st. Support great local authors.